Okay, hold on. Okay, tell me the story of how you met Baba Ramdas. I'm recording now.
Oh, you're recording?
Yeah.
Okay. I started by saying that I've been in I guess you call it an apartment. It was a duplex. I lived in a duplex. And my wife was pregnant. She wasn't married to me, but I like to call it wife. I mean, after all, we have children.
Hmm.
We had two. We have two sons. One is life, and the other is truth. Isn't that interesting that my sons are
Oh,
called life and truth?
now, yeah, it's ringing a bell. You told me about this before.
Yeah,
I forgot that.
yeah,
Yeah, those are cool names.
yeah.
Wait, is that other actual names though? Life and Truth?
Yeah, it's on their birth certificate.
Nice.
And my son is named Yeshua,
Hmm.
and that's on
I,
his birth certificate.
I
And
know
my
that
two
one.
daughters are Sati and Sita, and that's on their birth certificate.
Yeah.
And
I've never.
my name is Joseph, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it goes like this: Jesus, Joseph, Alexander, Christ. That's the name on the birth certificates. Jesus, Joseph, Alexander, Christ.
All right.
Yeah. Sati, Amrita, and Sita Grace. And their last name is Alexander.
Mm.
Now, I was in my duplex. Oh, the duplex? Guess what? I bought a school bus, and the school bus I bought was like 7 miles away from the duplex, right?
Yeah.
And when I brought it home, I noticed that it had like an option to start with a hand crank. There's old buses. It was a 1949 Studebaker, and it had this slot in the front. And I noticed that if I had a crank, I could start it, right?
Damn.
Remember, I bought it 7 miles away from where it's parked. So then I went into that little cubby hole where they put the we'll get back to the Ram Dass story. Okay, we haven't forgotten. But in the little cubby hole where they keep the hot water heater,
Yeah.
there was a crank.
Oh, there you
Now, if my life depended on, like, you got to get a crank, dude, and you got the whole county of Ventura to find
go.
it in, I probably couldn't have. You understand? There's no way I'm going to find a crank that's going to crank a 1949 Studebaker.
Yeah.
Well, there was one in that cubby hole, and I started my Studebaker with it. Now, is that a coincidence? It's like you find a lock, and then you find a key, and they match, and they're 7 miles apart. And
So
this
you
is a 1949 Studebaker, and then we're talking about what year? 79. Is that 30 years later?
39 to 49 or 79?
49 to
That's 40
79.
years. That's 40
What?
years. 40 years later. Yeah, 40 years
I think
later.
it's, I think it's 30.
39, 49, 59, 69, 79. That's 40.
Yeah, but the car was a 49.
Yeah, 49. Oh,
Yeah,
49. Oh,
yeah.
I thought you said 39. Never mind.
No, no. It's a 49 Studebaker,
Oh, okay. That's
and
30.
and
Yeah.
and the chances of having a crank,
A goddamn crank.
people, they don't make those kind of cars anymore, so they don't have the cranks. They don't
No.
make cranks anymore. So here this thing is 40 years old, and yet I found a crank right within 30
How,
feet of the bus.
how did we get to this part? I forgot.
I wanted to tell you because you said, why do I think I'm Jesus? I
Uh,
said, I got 100 stories I could tell you, and that's one of them.
that's one of them. Okay. And okay.
Doesn't
So
that
that,
make sense? Here I go out, I buy a school bus, I drive it 7 miles, I park it, I go into my hot water heater cubby hole, whatever they call that in California, they have to be outside.
okay.
And I find this thing, and I go, "Oh, what is this?" It was folded in half. You open it up, and it slides this little thing, and it becomes one instead of a folding thing. It doesn't fold anymore. And then I look at it, and it's like a crank. And I go, "Oh!" And I took it and I stick it to the little hole and
On
started
your
my
Studebaker. Wow.
Studebaker. Now that's a miracle. If I
Interesting.
could give you 100 stories like that, then you begin saying, you must be the luckiest guy in the world.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty coincidental. Crazy coincidental.
Now let's get on with it. I'm
All right.
in, oh, and I got a sitar, and I'm tuning the sitar. As a matter of fact, I took the sitar all apart,
Whoa.
and I took sandpaper and I sanded, they had like bones. Part of the sitar is made of bone.
Hmm.
And I cleaned all that up, and the pegs and the wires and whatever. I had to go out and get new wires. I went to the library and got a book on how to tune a sitar by Ravi Shankar. Oh, and by the way, I met Ravi Shankar too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
famous sitar player.
yeah. Actually, I didn't get to speak to him. It's not like I met him, but he entertained me on two occasions, one in Ojai and one in India.
Entertained you? Like played sitar for you personally?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He did a concert in Ojai and I
Oh.
was in the audience.
Oh, okay.
He did another concert in India at Satya Sai Baba's house,
Wow.
and I was in attendance there as well.
When were you in India for that?
1985.
Oh, okay.
I went to Sai Baba's birthday party.
Okay.
I spent Christmas in his house in Whitefield.
Wow.
And
Whitefield,
how did I
Indiana?
get yeah, and how did I get there? I was sleeping on the street. Christmas morning, I got woke up by a column of people walking by singing Christmas carols and holding candles. And I joined them and they went into Sai Baba's house and I went in with them. Now, isn't that another coincidence?
That's pretty crazy.
It's like, how could that happen? I'm
So, you,
sleeping on the streets in India. I get woke up on Christmas morning by whatever, what do you call it? They were all carrying candles and they were singing Christmas carols and they were going to Sai Baba's house that
Christmas
morning.
carols in India?
Yeah, they were Christians.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Didn't know they were doing it
Well, who
like that
else
over
would be
there.
singing Christmas carols for God's sake? All right.
Oh, people who
And,
like
and, and I'm
Christmas.
Jesus and I'm sleeping in the streets of India. And that's how I wake up.
Well, damn.
And, I've seen Sai Baba. I've touched him. I've talked to him. I've spent a lot of time with that guy. You maybe never heard of him.
I've heard of him.
Sai Baba.
Yeah, I've heard of him. I'm not too familiar though.
Such a Sai. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
let's get back to the apartment
Yes.
or the duplex.
Let's try to
So
keep
I'm
it
in
on.
there.
Yeah.
I took my sitar all apart, and then I went downtown and got the strings at the guitar shop. It's pretty hard to find sitar strings, but I did. I also had a Hammond organ, and I used the Hammond organ to tune the strings. When you have a musical instrument and you have to tune the strings, you need to have like a tuning fork or some,
A
I
piano
have a
or an
guitar
organ.
here. I have a guitar here in my room, and it has a little device, and you can
Yeah. I've got my
things,
guitars.
and
My
you can
guitar's
see a
right over
needle.
there.
Yeah, I see it. Well, I don't know if I could show
I
you
got a
now.
tuner. I got a tuner on my phone now.
Hang on.
I think I've got
I
the
got it.
same.
Here's my tuner right here. Can you see my tuner?
No,
Oh
I
wait,
can't see it.
I gotta turn the phone around.
Oh yeah.
You see
Interesting.
it?
Oh yeah. Look, here's mine.
It's a
Is this the same thing?
Galveston. It's a Galveston, and then it's got like a
Look at mine.
snark.
Look at
Snark.
mine. Look
Oh,
right
you
here.
got a snark too?
Got the same
Is it a
thing.
snark?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a snark.
I was tuning my guitar, not my guitar, but my sitar.
Yeah.
I
To the
decided
organ.
that I needed to get some air. I'd been in there for about 3 weeks, wanting to get out of the house for a while. So I step out onto the street, and I think it was a 40. Nah, I want to see if I got the right year. It was a red pickup truck. My friend driving it was Lanny Coffer, and I think this might have been like a 47. It was an old pickup truck, and he was
Oh,
on his way to Santa Paula. And when I think of Santa Paula, I think of this guy named Steve McQueen. because he used to live in Santa Paula. Okay, Steve
Uh-huh.
McQueen, a movie star.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds familiar.
Anyways, I went into a store and they said, "Oh, you just missed him." And I said, "Missed who?" And they said, "Steve McQueen. He was just here." And I said, "Oh shit." So that's my Steve McQueen story in Santa Paula, California,
Okay, we need Baba Ram Dass.
and that was 7 miles away from where I lived. Now, and that's where we were going. We were going there to get some straw because we were going to put the straw on the ground so people could sit on it because we were going to the Baba Ram Dass, whatever they call it.
Okay.
What do
Okay,
they
so
call it when he comes and he sits down and everybody comes and listens?
uh, I forgot what they call it.
I
I
can't
mean,
think of what.
like a lecture or
Yeah,
I-
yeah, lecture's fine. Outdoors, right?
yeah, yeah.
And whose property? The same property that Alan Watts walked on, the Walnut
Walnuts, yeah.
Grove at Beatrice Woods' place. And Beatrice Woods was a famous lady. She's a potter
Okay.
and other things. And she was a friend of mine. Okay.
All right, all right.
So here we are on Beatrice's property, and Baba Ram Dass is coming, and my job is to put hay on the ground. Well, I put the hay on the ground the night before. It was all done. So I was coming to the, you want to call it here, okay?
Sorry, you broke up for a second there. You were coming to
The lecture.
the lecture. Okay.
Who's going to be there? Baba Ram Dass. How do I know? My friend Lanny Coffer says, guess what? Baba Ram Dass is coming in to town.
Mm,
And I said, well, what's he going to do? And they said, he's going to be at the Walnut Grove over at Beatrice's place and he's doing an outdoor lecture. And you can come. I said, well, I don't pay money to go to those things. He said, you don't have to pay. You can just put the straw on the ground and we'll let you in for free.
nice.
Another coincidence, because I made a vow once that I would never pay money for spiritual lecture
Mm,
because I didn't think that you could get the truth with money. If it took money to get the truth, then it would only be for rich people.
yeah, that
So I
makes
made
sense.
that rule.
Yeah, that checks out for sure.
Okay. So here I am. It's in the morning and I got a jacket. I took my jacket off and I could have put the jacket anywhere I want. And then later I could claim it. I could say, oh, this is my spot.
Yeah,
But inside my head, my thoughts, right? They're not my thoughts. They could be thought of as your thoughts, but you don't know for sure. I mean, you get an idea. Where's it come from? Some of them come from God. Some of them don't. You have to be able to discern which ones are the ones you should accept.
uh-huh.
When you get a thought like drive your car into the oncoming traffic, that's not God telling you that.
Who's that? Who's that?
I don't know. I don't know, but I don't listen to that guy.
Nah, I'm good off that guy.
You've probably heard of him before.
Yeah,
You get really close to the edge and he says, why don't you jump? And you go, no, I don't think so.
yeah. I
Yeah.
know that.
But you do get those thoughts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're not
What
yours.
if?
And you know damn well they're not yours.
I certainly hope not. I don't
No,
identify with them.
no, no. So, anyways, so I get this thought like you could put your jacket down and then you could claim it later. And you could put it all the way to the front so you get a good seat.
Uh,
And I thought, no, that's not what I would do. Because I'm
yeah,
not paying money. Everybody else is paying money. After they've all got seated, then I'll sit down. I'll take
gotcha.
what's left.
I
Okay?
like it. I like it.
That's my thinking. So now we bring in Steve Englander. Because my job was to make a space like an aisle, because I put the straw everywhere, but there was no aisle. And they said, well, we want you to make an aisle, separate the right from the left so that people could, like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I made the aisle all the way up to the box. Well, it wasn't a box, it was like a stage, but it was about only 1.5 feet at the most off the ground, like a box.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a box,
I
but
think
it's
like
maybe 3
yeah, like
feet,
sorry.
maybe 3 feet by 4.
Yeah, I think I saw like when Krishnamurti gave his talks out in Ojai. He had like a similar setup, I think.
No, he sat in a chair.
But I think it was like up on a box or something.
No,
Or like a
he
little
was sitting on a
stage.
chair.
Really?
Oh yeah. I went there lots of times.
Hmm.
Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays for about 4 weeks straight. And I talked to him, I touched him, and I even did a video with him. So that's another story. One-on-one with Krishnamurti.
Yeah,
One-on-one with
that
Sai Baba. One-on-one with Muktananda. One-on-one with Rajneesh. What's his name? Rajneesh. There's got to be more to it than that.
oh
Osho. You heard of him, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, how many did I just name? 5? How about Allen Ginsberg? How about Timothy Leary? And there's
Wait,
more.
wait, what are you listing right now? What are all these names? I
Yeah,
mean,
what are those names? You
cool
never heard of
people you've
Timothy Leary, Dr.
no.
Timothy Leary?
No, I know. Yeah, Ram Dass and Timothy Leary. Yeah, of course they go hand in hand. But I'm
And
saying these.
Allen
You just
Ginsberg.
oh, you're just listing great people you've met. Gotcha.
I'm just
Sorry.
telling you that why I know I'm Jesus. I know I'm Jesus.
Gotcha.
Bob
Okay.
Dylan sang a song to me. One-on-one, right in my eyes.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what the
you
name
told
of
me
the
about
song was?
that. Was it called
The name of the
Jesus?
song was?
Yahweh? I don't know. What was it?
It's called Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I can play that one.
You
Can
know
you?
who else? You know who else sang a song to me?
Who? Oh wait, John Lennon?
Come on, you can answer. You don't have to just freeze up.
Was it John Lennon?
How about George Harrison?
George, was that who it was?
You ever heard of him?
He's the other Beatle, George Harrison, right?
Yeah, he's one of the Beatles. Yeah, he plays bass guitar for the Beatles. No, lead guitar.
Lead guitar.
Paul
Yeah,
McCartney plays bass.
yeah.
Yeah. And he
That's
sang a
cool.
song to me. Yeah. You know where he sang the song?
No.
Long Beach, California, in the convention center. Just outside the Queen Mary. You ever heard of the Queen Mary?
I've heard of it. Not familiar.
Yeah, in the Spruce Goose, one of the biggest airplanes ever built.
Yeah.
And it was built by who? Howard Hughes. See,
Oh,
you're
Howard
just a
Hughes.
kid. Yeah.
I know Howard
I'm
Hughes.
an 80-year-old man. I know more stuff than you can imagine.
Yeah, I
And I'm
believe you
Jesus.
know Andy
And I'm
Hughes.
Jesus. And
Yeah.
guess what he sang to me? Guess what he sang to me?
George Harrison sang
My sweet Lord.
My Sweet Lord. Of course.
Yeah. And how was I dressed?
All
I
white.
had on my shirt, I had Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu is his Lord.
Oh,
And yeah.
yeah,
So
he's
George Harrison was singing My Sweet Lord to Lord Vishnu, and I was wearing the shirt with Lord Vishnu about, I don't know, 18 or 20 inches tall. That's pretty big. I belong to a family called the Rainbow Family. And we
oh
lived
yeah.
in Laguna Beach, California. And
Oh
I
yeah.
was invited to go to the George Harrison concert. And I was dressed as one of the family members. We're Star Rainbow. His name is Theodore Shields, another Teddy. Remember I said Ted Neely? I mentioned Ted Neely earlier before you turned on your recorder,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Well, Ted Neely, that's Theodore. The other one was also Theodore. His name is Theodore, and we call him Star Rainbow. And he's a famous guy. You can see him any summer at the Sawdust Festival in Laguna Beach. And he painted the clothes that I was wearing, and
All
they were
right.
incredible. I had a rainbow across my butt. I had a cornucopia on my left leg. I had a macaw, a red macaw on my right leg, and I had Vishnu on my chest, and on my back I had clouds.
Where was this at? Oh, this was at the Wait, Father Jode, right? Was that his name? Father Jode? Or
No, I'm
Father?
talking about. I'm talking. No, whoa, whoa, come on. Maybe you smoke too much pot. I'm talking about the arena in
Oh,
Long Beach. I called it the convention center, but it might have been the arena, the Long Beach
okay.
Arena, right
Gotcha.
next to the water where they have the Queen Mary, and just
Okay.
a little ways from the Spruce Goose. Yeah, and I got well. We actually went there. We went there to deliver the shirts. We were bringing shirts to George Harrison and Billy Preston and the rest of the band. It was called his Dark Horse Dark Horse Tour. So if you look it up, 1974 in Long Beach. That's was a Saturday night, and after the concert, I went to. We still got to get back to Baba Ram Dass. Don't let us forget, okay?
Well, we've gone 21 minutes. I think that's gonna be quite the upload there. So I'm gonna cut it
Well, hold on,
here.
hold on,
And,
hold on.
oh,
I'm going to
okay.
say one more thing. I'm
Okay.
going to say one more thing. I went to the Source restaurant that
Uh-huh.
night, and I met Sky Saxton, the leader of the Seeds, and he brought me into the kitchen, put an apron on me, and brought me into the Source family. And that's where Father Yod, right?
Father Yod, yeah.
And the next morning, when I met Father Yod, he said, "Who is Yehovah?" And my answer was, "Yehovah is God." And he said, "Yes, and you're my son, Jesus." Now, how's that for, you know, Father Yod, 1974, December, about the 13th. I can't tell you exactly what day, but it was the Sunday after George Harrison sang My Sweet Lord. Now, do you get the coincidence here?
I think I'm putting it together. Maybe after I
And then we're
watch this
gonna do one
again.
more, and we'll do one more thing, and then
Okay, okay,
we'll be done. You
okay.
got time for one more? We're gonna finish up the Baba
Hit me.
Ram Dass thing,
Oh, I'm here, baby. I'm here.
unless you want it to be a cliffhanger. Tune in, tune in next week, and find out how I met Baba Ram Dass.
All right, we can do that. So let's
Shut it
cut it
off.
there, folks. It's been good. Hold on.